Lena Horne was a Hollywood legend, but behind the scenes she faced relentless challenges, including racism, turbulent relationships, and deep personal struggles. Unlike many of her peers, Horne was a true trailblazer, breaking barriers in an industry that was not always welcoming. Born on June 30, 1917 in Brooklyn, New York, she began her professional career at just 16 years old and went on to work in entertainment for over 6 decades. However, her early life was anything but stable. Her father, Edwin "Teddy" Horne, was a banker and professional gambler, while her mother, Edna Scottron, pursued a career in acting. From the start, her father was often absent, reportedly away gambling during her birth to ensure he could cover the hospital bill. When Lena was just 3 years old, her parents separated. According to the biography Stormy Weather, Teddy faked an illness to justify leaving, while Edna prioritized her Hollywood dreams over motherhood. With both parents gone, Lena was raised by her grandparents until the age of 15, shaping the resilience that would define her remarkable career. Lena Horne's grandmother, Cora Catherine Calhoun Horne, was a dedicated civil rights activist involved with the NAACP. Her influence on young Lena was significant, so much so that Lena was registered as a member of the organization at just 2 years old, when Cora took her to an office to sign up. Reflecting on her childhood, Horne later admitted, "My nomadic childhood taught me to hide my feelings. I would smile and try hard to fit in." For most of her early years, Lena lived with her grandparents, but everything changed when her grandmother passed away in 1932. At that time, her mother had remarried and was living in Cuba, leaving Lena to stay with a family friend in Brooklyn. There, she attended girls' high school and took dance lessons. By 1933, her mother, Edna Scottron, finally returned and they settled in Harlem. However, times were tough during the Great Depression and money was scarce. In an effort to support the family, Scottron helped her teenage daughter secure a job at the famed Cotton Club as a chorus girl. The Cotton Club, a white-run establishment in Harlem, was known for showcasing black performers but ironically banned black guests. The working conditions were harsh and the pay was meager. Horne earned only $25 a week, despite performing 3 shows per night, 7 nights a week. To make matters worse, the upper-class patrons often treated the performers with little respect. Despite these early struggles, Lena Horne was on the path to becoming one of the most influential entertainers of her time. Lena Horne later recalled to the New York Times in 1981, "The conditions were really terrible. We couldn't even use the toilet, which was for the customers." The grueling schedule and poor treatment of black performers made it clear that the industry was more interested in exploiting talent than nurturing it. "They just want to make you work," she said, reflecting on the harsh realities she faced in her early career. While Horne was navigating the challenges of show business, she also had to contend with a difficult relationship with her mother, Edna Scottron. Scottron had long prioritized her own career ambitions over her role as a parent, and when Horne began to gain recognition, it only deepened the tension between them. By 1940, Horne was making a name for herself in entertainment, something her mother had given up on years before. After Horne appeared in the 1938 musical film The Duke is Tops, Scottron requested a meeting in Los Angeles. Instead of a heartfelt reunion, she demanded that her daughter use her industry connections to set up calls with producers so she could finally achieve stardom. When Horne refused, Scottron resorted to threats, warning that she would tarnish her daughter's reputation in the press. As Horne recounted in her memoir Lena, she eventually sought legal assistance to resolve the situation, and her mother ultimately returned to Cuba. By the time Horne was 19, she met Louis Jones, the man who would become her first husband. In her memoir, she remembered thinking, "I thought he was the nicest thing in the world." After only 3 weeks of dating, Jones proposed, but Horne's mother was furious. However, Horne saw marriage as a way to free herself from her mother's influence, and on January 6, 1937, the couple wed. Unfortunately, their relationship soon soured. Jones struggled to find stable work, and tensions grew between them. Before long, he became verbally abusive. Less than a month into their marriage, Horne realized with deep regret that she had made a mistake. Trapped in an unhappy marriage, Lena Horne soon discovered she was pregnant, making it even harder to leave. By 1940, as her singing career was beginning to take off, she finally managed to separate from Louis Jones. 4 years later, in 1944, she secured a divorce, allowing her to fully pursue her career on her own terms. Horne had made her Broadway debut in 1934 with a small role in Dance with Your Gods, but she put her career on hold after marrying Jones in 1937. Once they separated, she decided to return to show business, joining the Charlie Barnet Orchestra, a predominantly white swing band. However, touring with the group presented its own set of challenges. Despite performing at various venues, Horne was not allowed to socialize with the audience or even her fellow band members due to racial discrimination. Segregation laws also meant that she was denied hotel accommodations, forcing her to sleep on the tour bus. Band leader Charlie Barnet eventually stepped in, instructing his manager to find a workaround. As Barnet later recalled, "Our band manager would go to the hotel desk, order the rooms, jabber to Lena in Spanish, double talk. Then he'd tell the desk clerk, 'Our Cuban singer would like a single room and a bath.'" While this trick occasionally worked, it was far from a lasting solution, and Horne continued to face racism at every turn. Tired of facing constant racism, Lena Horne decided she had had enough. After just a few months with the Charlie Barnet Orchestra, she left the band and returned to New York. There, she found a new opportunity at Cafe Society downtown, the city's first racially integrated nightclub. It was a refreshing change from the discrimination she had endured on the road. Looking back years later, Horne reflected, "I also like the fact that my young grandchildren don't think it was as bad as I thought it was." In 1941, Horne made a bold move to Hollywood, where she began to mingle with some of the biggest names in the industry. During this time, she was romantically linked to filmmaker Orson Welles and bandleader Artie Shaw. Meanwhile, MGM studio head Louis B. Mayer was under increasing pressure from civil rights organizations, including the NAACP, to offer more diverse roles to black actors. Walter White, the executive secretary of the NAACP, arranged for Horne to meet with Mayer in 1942. The meeting resulted in a groundbreaking 7-year contract, making Horne the first black performer to secure such a deal with a major Hollywood studio. Despite this historic achievement, Horne was determined to control her image. She refused to take on stereotypical roles, a decision that was both courageous and controversial. Her contract stirred tension among fellow black performers, who feared it might limit their own opportunities. As Horne later recalled, "My signing this contract and their hearing that I would not do certain kinds of work led to mixed reactions from others in the industry." Lena Horne's groundbreaking contract with MGM was a major achievement, but it also came with frustration and isolation. As one of the first black performers to secure such a deal, she found herself caught between two worlds. Other black actors were wary of her contract, fearing that it could limit opportunities for them. Horne later admitted, "My signing this contract and their hearing that I would not do certain kinds of work got me into a lot of trouble with black actors." She added, "The very fact that I was one of the first, I was isolated right away because there was no niche for me." This sense of isolation deepened when MGM attempted to shape her image to fit Hollywood's narrow standards. Audiences began questioning her racial identity, wondering whether she was black or white. When she filmed her first movie for the studio, Panama Hattie, 1942, MGM asked her to pass as Latina to make her more marketable. Horne was deeply offended, recalling, "When my own people accused me of trying to pass, I was furious and I felt more isolated than ever." According to Icons of Black America, MGM even altered her appearance for the screen. Believing her skin tone needed to be darker, they had a makeup artist create a special foundation called Light Egyptian to help her blend in with her co-stars. Years later, Horne was in the running for the lead role of Julie in the 1951 film Showboat,